Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Brother Gaming HD here today. In today's video, gaming has gotten more expensive, especially after 2020, I should say, during the a little bit during and after the COVID era, I should say in general. Everything has really gone up in price. Gaming has become more popular. It has become more expensive to produce games overall, and the teams are pretty much bigger than what they were back then, right? Everything eventually goes up in price. Gas, food, gaming, media in general eventually goes up in price sooner rather than later. And gaming has really been taking an impact on that spectrum as well. And the reason why I'm making this video is mostly because of the fact that it doesn't affect PlayStation. It doesn't affect Xbox. It doesn't affect PC gamers for that matter. It affects the whole entire gaming ecosystem slash gaming community as a whole. It affects us all. For those who are currently still on the old generational hardware of PlayStation and Xbox, I'm pretty sure some of y'all were deciding whether or not to decide to pick up the current generation of a PlayStation 5 or even a current Xbox One Series X or S. And I'm pretty sure after seeing the spike increases here recently, it has really scared y'all of literally buying and upgrading to that current generation of hardware. And I kind of question the video game industry for this as well, mostly because of the fact, on one hand, I understand, they are a business, they are corporations, they are greedy pigs. That's me putting it lightly, to the point of where they start milking their community. They start milking their fan base and their players to see how far they can get away with it, right? It slowly started with games going from like what, $50 to $60 to currently $70 now. Not to even mention like the $80 versions, the $90 version, the $100 versions, which are basically the upgraded editions of those games, which give you in-game cosmetics or early, like 2 days early, maybe a week early to play the game before anybody else gets a chance to play it. And gaming itself was really popular during the COVID era. Look at Warzone. Warzone really blew up around that time frame. And Warzone ain't the same like it once was. Even though I'm not a big Warzone fan myself, I mostly played a shit ton of Fortnite. And Fortnite itself right now, it's not doing so hot itself as well, which I might end up covering in a separate video by itself. But gaming is not what it once was. Gaming used to be a way of life, a form of escapism, one way or another, on how you shed that light, right? And gaming itself, it still is that. It still is that cultural phenomenon that, gamers love. People love PlayStation, people love Xbox, people love Nintendo, for crying out loud. And there are people out there who literally play on a PC. I still got a PlayStation 5. I still got the first fresh batch of PlayStations when they were really hard to get your hands on during the whole scalping and all that bullshit back then, especially with COVID being a thing. And PlayStations are really hard to find, especially as well as that new generational Xbox that is technically the current generation of consoles right now. And it just kind of shows that gaming has came a long way. Gaming has evolved when it comes to graphics, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to just gaming as a whole in general. And I really don't buy a whole lot of games now like I used to. I'll still buy some games here, I'll still buy some games there. I think recently I ended up buying Resident Evil 9 Requiem because, I'm going to spend money on that game. I'm going to play the shit out of it. And I did. I played the game. I loved it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed Leon returning. And that brand new character that they ended up adding, she added a little bit of, good chemistry in there as well. But gaming itself has pretty much became, like, what game do I want to pick? Because apparently I remember seeing somewhere on a YouTube video, like, the average gamer only buys like one game every year. That could be Madden, that could be Call of Duty, That could be NBA 2K 26, 25. Um, the college sport games that are being produced by EA currently as well. And it just kind of shows that the gaming ecosystem has, been hurting for a while here and there, and bits and pieces every now and then, just depending on the situation at hand, right? And it gets to a point of where those individuals who are still stuck on the old hardware, it kind of pushes them away to incentivize them to buy that current generation of hardware. And look, I can understand, money's tight, you got bills to pay, you got a family to feed, to provide for. I understand that, you know, gaming is a way to, get away from life a little bit here and there. There's not a problem with that, right? It's a good thing to have a hobby. Some people watch YouTube, some people play video games, some people watch their favorite TV series on repeat. You get my point. Everybody has a hobby, and gaming is one of those hobbies that has become more expensive over the years as the years have progressed. And by the looks of it, with consoles nearly being $1,000, I don't see the video game industry or even gaming and consoles as a whole slowing down in price increases. And I'm pretty sure these price increases are going to get worse over time, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to milk a shit ton of money out of their fans, out of their player base, out of their community, and try to see how much money they can make by the end of the year, at the end of the year, right? Xbox itself as well has literally been failing console sales as well. And I think I'm seeing somewhere that current consoles like PlayStation and Xbox respectfully have declined overall, with 2025, wrapping up here 4 months ago. And it just kind of shows that either people are not interested in gaming anymore, which, it's a very common thing for individuals to, step away from their hobby that they've once enjoyed. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it really pushes, current gamers and future gamers to come into this space and pretty much, enjoy a hobby, enjoy their favorite video game that they enjoy. And some every now and then I'm still playing, some of my top games I normally do play, but as you can see in the background, I've been playing a lot of, what is this? Oh Lord. Miami Hotline #1. So I've been playing a lot of this here recently, and that's what the gameplay you've been seeing for the past almost 8 minutes or so, give or take. But gaming itself as a whole has gotten more expensive. It's gotten to the point to where, it's pushed people away from gaming, or it's pushed people away to purchasing new consoles overall. And there's no telling what the future holds for the next generation of consoles, because if we're already reaching the $1,000 price point here currently within early of April of 2026, who knows? Maybe the next Xbox and the next PlayStation that that will be released several years later are going to be 1,200, or even a little bit more than that, because of the hardware and the components that are getting put into these consoles to improve graphics, gameplay, and so much more. And besides, it's no surprise that movies now look more like a movie instead of a video game, which is kind of weird. And on one hand, it's neat, but at the same time, gaming has become a popular form of media, to the point of where games in general are just going up in price. I won't be surprised if GTA's, starting price point is $100 freaking dollars. After that, who knows? Maybe other games will follow suit, and we'll have $100 games with $1,000 consoles, and people just might drop gaming as a whole. And besides, who knows? Maybe right now the gaming ecosystem, the gaming in general, is literally maybe like in some kind of drought, some kind of crisis of some sort. And they're thinking the best way to, save their company and save, and produce more is to increase the prices of consoles and gaming as well as PC components. And I can understand, at the end of the day, it's corporations just trying to make more money, be more greedy, and just be corporate scumbags because they can. It's corporate America. What? And it's even interesting to see that games like Black Myth Wukong and other games like Resident Evil Requiem are becoming more common and are more popular because they know their player base, they know their community. But it's been your boy Brother Gaming Trade Buddy, and if you are new to the channel, please don't subscribe, like, hit the bell notifications, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out and goodbye.